Return, O virgin daughter of Israel, to these your highways by which you went. Welcome to Reunion Roadmap, a place to discover the people and communities along the highway of restoration for Israel's house of Joseph. Reunion Roadmap is a B'nai Yosef North America production. Be our guest for the next hour as we meet the people of the emerging house of Joseph here in North America. Hello, this is Savani Pappas, or should I say Shalom. This is Savani Pappas, B'nai Yosef North America, and with me is Al McCarn, our Executive Director, and it's Shalom because, again, we're going to Israel for part 4 in our interview with Adam Eliyahu Berkowitz. Isn't that correct, Al?
Yes, we are going back to Katzrin, Israel. We will get into some pretty deep questions here where Eliyahu and I are talking about the relationship of Christians and Jews. That question of, is it possible to have a meaningful relationship without trying to convert each other? Why is that important? And we talk as well about who might be opposed to that very thing and why. We get into some pretty frank talk about the role of Jesus, the role of Yeshua. I think you might be surprised at what he has to say. Now, we still have a difference of opinion on whether Yeshua is the Messiah for all of Israel. But just listen to a dialogue between a Jew who knows his identity and knows his place in the land of Israel, among the people of Israel, and a Christian, a self-identified Ephraimite two-house believer who understands his identity, and the two of us trying to understand how we can walk together, but understanding that it's very important for kingdom purposes that we do. I found this to be a very eye-opening and encouraging conversation. You know, I'm very blessed to call Eliyahu Berkowitz a friend. It has been several years since I've seen him, and that was the last time we were in Israel. I certainly hope and pray that the time we can meet again face-to-face will be very, very soon, perhaps next year in Jerusalem. But right now, we are going this year to Katzrin in the Golan Heights and finish our conversation with Adam Eliyahu Berkowitz.
And Haaretz is, they're so left-wing that they're anti-Israel as a media. They're not popular in Israel at all. They can claim to be pro-Palestinian, but the Palestinians hate them. But they're ultra left-wing. They're like Israel's version of the woke. And they hate Hayovel. They hate them. Which for me doesn't make sense, because you think that, the left wing, they're into pluralism and acceptance and hope. But pluralism, because this connecting to Christians is not interfaith. What we're doing is not interfaith, because interfaith is based on, we're all the same. But what we're doing, Al, you and I, is I sit in a room with you. I'm an Orthodox Jew, and I need to serve God better.
Yes.
Can you help me? And you're like, I'm a devout Christian. I love Jesus. Can you help me? And so we help each other. And I walk away a better Jew, and you walk away a better Christian.
Yes.
And that is not interfaith. That is absolutely not interfaith. So it's kind of like you would think that the left-wing would be the left-wing secular would be very into pluralism, but they're not. They're really, really not. And part of the reason is, I think a big bulk of the reason is Hayovel, they believe in God. They believe in the Bible. And they can't have that. You know, if they want to, they want to say, why is there Israel? Oh, because of the Holocaust, because of whatever reasons they have. Okay, but the Balfour Declaration came before the Holocaust. Christians wanted the Jews in Israel, and it had nothing to do with the Holocaust.
Right.
Hayovel says, what's the solution? Well, we're talking about Judea and Samaria, the biblical heartland. and they're like, what do you mean biblical heartland? It's, Palestinian territory for 5,000 years. Okay. And it's like, well, what about archaeology? No, you don't understand. So the left wing absolutely hates. And when Hayovel goes up to the Temple Mount, the Arabs hate them more than they hate me. They hate when I go up. They'll stop them from praying before they'll stop me from praying. Because they believe in holiness. They believe in the holiness of Israel. They believe in the God of Israel. They believe in the Bible. And that's the biggest threat to the Arabs. It's the biggest threat to the secular left wing. So the other threat, the other people who don't like what I do, there's a type of Orthodox Jews who, and it really boils down to one question. You ask them one question. Do you believe that a Jew and a Christian can have a meaningful relationship without one trying to convert the other? And if they say no, well, then they will object to what I'm doing. And I can understand them because it's based in history. But the major change is that's only true for the exile. When Jews lived in the exile, we necessarily had to build walls.
Right.
We had to remain separate. It was just, the Christian culture was too pervasive, too much of a majority. It was dangerous. The only way Jews and Judaism and Torah could have survived is by building these walls. But now that I'm a Jew in Israel, what am I afraid of? That my grandchildren are going to be Christian? It's not going to happen. I wonder tell me, what's it like? You're a Christian, you come to Israel, and 90% of the people you meet on the street are Jewish. Where else does that happen? It's crazy.
Not even Brooklyn.
Not even Brooklyn. And even in Brooklyn, it's a bubble, and they know it's a bubble. But missionaries in Israel, I'll tell you, missionaries in Israel, I hate to say this, but I used to laugh at them. Because I'm like, what are you trying to do? You're trying to convert Israelis. The only ones you're going to get are the, fringe people who are going through a hard time or whatever. But Christmas comes and goes, and I don't feel it. There's no Christmas decorations. You don't get a day off at work. It doesn't happen. New Year's Eve, the same thing. Yeah. New Year's Eve, the same thing. But go try to get a pizza on Passover. You can't do it.
Right.
There's a big, even the seculars, what they do on Yom Kippur is they go bike riding on the highways because no one drives. Okay, this is a Jewish state. So I'm not in danger. No one's going to convert. But to be really honest, I've gotten much more anti-missionary recently. And it's not because I feel threatened. It's because they are what's keeping Jews and Christians apart. When these Orthodox Jews say you can't connect with Christians because they're trying to convert you, they point at the missionaries, and they're right.
Yeah.
But what they don't do is they don't point at my friend Al. Because they don't know you. They don't point at all my other friends who are Christian people, who I think if I converted to Christianity and accepted Jesus, you might be a little sad.
Well,
you can be honest. You can be honest, dude.
That's a very complicated question.
I'm sure it is.
We've already covered it in this conversation, where this is Al's view of the subject. We Christians, we understand and accept that the identity of Messiah is Jesus of Nazareth, Yeshua of Nazareth. And that has opened the way for us to come into relationship with the Almighty, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, so there's this Jewish guy who lived in the first century. I happen to believe he's Messiah, and he's the way he's brought me in. But I don't understand the concept of Messiah and the process of Messiah, which you have just explained.
So let me tell you something. I had this epiphany, which doesn't happen too often. When I was reading the New Testament, I was learning with some also Tommy Waller was there. We were learning the New Testament. We were learning about Jesus going to Jerusalem for Passover. And for me, a religious Jew goes to Jerusalem before Passover. He's going there to bring his Passover offering. He's going to go to the temple. And the way you do it is you don't, not everyone brings the Passover offering. You get together as a group before Passover, and you designate one person to take the lamb to the temple, and he does it, and then he brings it back, and then you roast it as a group, and everyone gets a little piece of it. Okay. And the Passover Seder, as we do it today, is pretty much based on that. And we were studying it, and there's a part of the Seder where you open up the door, your front door, and you also say something very strange, which is, everyone who's hungry, come in and eat, which is actually forbidden, because the only people who are permitted to partake of the Passover sacrifice are the people who arranged before Passover to be together. So you can't open up your door and say, oh, there's a guy who's hungry, come on in. You can't do that. The only people who can come in, who are the only people who can partake of the Passover sacrifice, are the people who arranged beforehand. So what's that opening up the door? And I realized that, okay, when the third temple is built, I'm a Jew. I'm required to go bring a sacrifice, bring it back to my hotel room, and have my Passover sacrifice with my family, whoever guests arranged beforehand. And I realized that one of the last things Jesus did was he arranged for a Passover sacrifice. So he's like saving your seat at the table.
Yeah.
So you can be at the table with me. So he's, and I mean, in more than just the Passover sacrifice, in so many ways, he was, I mean, it's amazing that Christians connected with a Jew. So your pathway into connecting with me, not into Judaism, not into being a Jew, the Christians, their pathway to connect with Torah is through Jesus. It's not my pathway. I don't need that. I'm a Jew. I'm already at the Seder. I'm already in the Torah. I already have an inheritance in the land of Israel. But for someone who's outside, how does he come in? And I realized he saved you a place at the table. I hope that, I mean that in the very sweetest way. And that's what's very special about Christianity. Is that their pathway to God is through a Jew. That's like, whoa.
I'm also thinking that we don't have the full story yet. There was
true.
Which is why this path that I would say we pioneers, those of us on this little island, this path that we're walking out tentatively and just feeling our way together, it's an ultimate journey of faith, because we have to take what we have come to know as true in our backgrounds and our studies, and we have to say, it's not wrong, but there's more to the story, and I'm seeing something in my brother here that helps me get the outlines of that other part of the story.
Yeah, what's a leap of faith? Everyone thinks a leap of faith is like you're sitting on this like pillar, that's 100 feet in the air, and you see another pillar, and it's like 20 feet away, and you have to jump to. A leap of faith is when you don't even see that second pillar and you jump anyway, and that's what we're doing. And we're and then you're trying to figure it out when you're halfway through in the air, and you're like, oh my gosh, where am I going to land? Where's this leading? And we are, and I'm making a lot of mistakes, and I'm getting a lot of people angry at me, and I'm sure you are as well, because you're an Ish Emet, you're a man of truth, and it's not easy. My methodology is I'm very rarely what we call in Hebrew a kanai, a zealot. There aren't too many things that I'm zealous about. I try to see every person as having their path to Hashem. I'm not always so successful, but there's so many people. There's this beautiful expression in Chassidut. It says, many ships cross the ocean and they can't follow each other because they don't leave trails. We're all going across the ocean, and we all got to find our way. We're all coming from different parts. The one thing is, I think we're all headed, maybe we're not all headed for the same place. I don't know. But we're certainly not following the same paths. That's for sure.
No, and in fact, there's only one master of return, ultimately.
Yeah.
Well, Eliyahu Berkowitz, it has been such a joy to talk with you, to hear a little bit about your new novel, The Master of Return and the 11th Light. And I give you a lot of credit for a lot of things, but this has been a very interesting interview, because every interview I've always done, they always ask me about the episode with my wife. Yes. And you're the first person who didn't, which I think is because you saw that it was there. Yes. And that is actually precisely the way it happened. Yes. And it's a pretty amazing story. But I mean, the whole book is amazing stories. The whole book is amazing people. Yes. And I think you're absolutely, there's so much more there. It's really describing a process of this geula that we're working towards, which is a huge thing. So I give you a lot of credit for catching that. I'm so pleased that you read the book and you got it. You really got it. As an author, that's a beautiful experience. I really appreciate it. I'm taking it in. I'm feeling it. Oh, good. Here's another author point. The way you ended the book, I can see where you could do a sequel. Do you have that in planning or thinking of it? I never want to do sequels. And it's just kind of like, if I wrote it, I did it, I'd done it. But something, a lot of people have asked me for it. First of all, the problem is it's autobiographical. Yes. So I haven't lived it yet. Though, if anything, I'll tell you, for example, with Hope Merchant, I wouldn't do a sequel, but I might do a prequel. Yes. If I did another Hope Merchant, I would do a story, and I have an idea. I've started working on it, of Theo's father. Mm-hmm. How do you become the father of a miracle worker? Yeah. That's kind of compelling for me. If I did, I might not do a sequel to Master of Return. I might do a prequel. Mm. And if I did, it would have cows in it. But, okay, those of us who know you a little bit and know your story will catch the reference. So. Cows, motorcycles, and tractors. Yeah. and guns and medic stuff and everything. Yeah. It's all there. And it might even have a bit of French cuisine. You never know. Sounds good. All right, where do we get the book? Okay. The book can be gotten on root-source is the website. I guess I'll send you the link, or you can get it on Amazon. It's the Hope Merchant. I'm sorry, not the Hope Merchant. The Hope Merchant is also there. Yes, it is. Just go to Amazon. The Master of Return and the 11th Light, by Eliyahu Berkowitz. I also I really encourage people to connect with me on social media. Eliyahu Berkowitz on Facebook. I love new friends. New friends. So, well, thanks for sharing a little bit of your thoughts and of your heart. And I pray the book does well. Al, you're awesome. I really like you. I really like you. This was great. Yes, this was really great. Thank you. Here's Melody Joy Cloud singing Vow. You can hear more of her music on YouTube.
Won't be broken. Do as you will. When you shake me and break me, he holds me and molds me, so I will not fear. He is here inside. Oh, I will not fear. I refuse to hide. I've made a vow. I've given him my life. I've made a vow, and I will stand and fight for my King. Do what you must, but know that this trust with my Father won't be broken. Do as you will. No, I am still his loyal child. When you hurt me and burn me, he takes me and makes
Shalom, everybody. Welcome to the Midrash portion of Reunion Roadmap. This is David Jones, and with me today is Barry Phillips. Shalom, brother.
Shalom, David.
Got a question for you. And this is
Okay.
it's not deep. It's not whatever. Just kind of like, what day is it?
What day is it at the time of the recording?
Yeah. What day? You ever wake up and you're like, wait a minute, what day is it?
Oh, yeah.
Or you're going through stuff, and in the middle of the day, you're stuck in a calendar. You're like, okay, what day is it again? Or you start thinking of plans. You're like, okay, wait, what day am I on? I want to bring up something I recently read in Deuteronomy 27. I'm looking down in verse 9. When it says, so Moses and the Levitical Kohanim, they spoke to all Israel, saying, be silent and listen, O Israel. This day you have become a people for Adonai your God. And that sounds awesome, but then it struck me kind of strange because it said, this day. Wait a minute. I thought they already were. What's going on here? What's really happening here? This thing of today, Hayom, today, this day. So what's so specific about this day that's being talked about that is confirming Israel that they are the people for Adonai their God?
Mm-hmm.
So it brings a question. So were they already a people of covenant? Yes. Were they already redeemed at this point? Yes. Because Yahweh says when he brought them out of Mitzrayim, that was an act of redemption, according to Shemot, I think, chapter 6. And so he says this was an act of redeeming them. So these are the people, they were redeemed, they were brought out, they were brought through the water, they were brought to the mountain, they had the revelation of him, they affirmed covenant with him. All of these things happened. They were his people. They're already. So what is this? What is this talking about when he says this day you have become a people for Adonai your God? So it's kind of like they already were a people for Yahweh, but now they're saying today is a day you are, for Yahweh. And what changed? What happened? What's the events of this day? And I think my thinking, which, goes a little crazy sometimes. My thinking is what happened right before this to testify to this fact. And if you go back and you read Deuteronomy 27, it's only 9 verses down, so just go back into the beginning and read. What you find is that when Israel was to cross over the Yarden, when they go in, they are to set up stones, and they are to cover them with plaster, and they set them up around Mount Ebal, and then they are to write the Torah on these stones that have been covered with plaster. And then they are to stand there with the altar, with these stones, and as you go back and you read in the Torah other places, you say, so they're at Shechem, and they are standing between Mount Ebal and Mount Gerizim, half the tribes towards Gerizim, half the tribes towards Ebal. They are to declare the blessings and the cursings of the covenant. And we read that it says you are to put the covenant in place, set the covenant in place when you get into the land that I'm giving you. So we have a picture set before us of life and death, of blessing and cursing, of an altar set up to Yahweh, and in the midst of all of this, stones that have the word of Yahweh written on them. And then it says, and so you're doing this. This is what I'm telling you need to do when you go into the land. And today you are saying that you have become a people for Adonai your God. So this is a big deal. So what do you think is really going on here, Barry?
We see then in Exodus, Shemot chapter 19, that when Israel was brought out, that Yah declared that they were his people, and that he had brought them specifically to that location to himself, described as bringing them to himself on eagle's wings, that they were a peculiar nation, a set-apart people. And there was the conditional if if they would be obedient to him, if they would accept his covenant. At the aftermath of the sin of the gold calf, Yah looked at Moshe up on the mountain and said, your people that you brought out have corrupted themselves. Moshe was quick to say, these are your people. You brought them out. And it's like nobody wanted them. No, you take them. No, you take them. I don't want them. You have them. So it was back and forth. Nobody wanted these people, not even the Creator at one point. It would seem, at least as one might read the word there. But David, here we see it's a second generation. And what I'm hearing out of this is what previous generations may have accepted and learned to walk in. It is now we in our own generation. It doesn't come to us by inheritance. It does not come to us through osmosis. It comes to us by choice. This is the generation that goes into the land. The previous generation is gone. So maybe as that first generation was dying off, this second one was just assuming once they're all dead, we'll just go in. And Yah is saying to them, you first must become my people. And that requires that you establish monumentally that my word is your foundation, that you're not going in because of a bloodline, you're not going in because of your race or the fact that you got to go somewhere. I'm here to take you in because you're my people. So it also says to me a second thing, and that is that when he found us wherever it was that we were, and he began to provoke the question inside of us, is this all that there is? To enable us to learn to search for him and look for what is the missing part, the Torah. That when we chose to embrace the Torah as this generation has been commanded to do, that's when we became Israel. It's another subject, another time perhaps, but very, very quickly I'll just throw this in, that the Messiah of Israel must take a bride from Israel. And so being Goim, a Gentile, while we can't help how we were born, where we were born, and into what race of people that we were born into, we have chosen out of every tribe, tongue, kindred, and nation to become Israel. Not because we were born into it, but because we chose to walk in it. We chose this word. So that's what I'm seeing here, is that Yah is establishing his people as Israel based upon the covenant of his word, and that each generation has to choose that for themselves.
That's a lot. I like that. That's really cool. I knew that when you said something about Yeshua and the bride. I knew that, but it never really clicked like that. So that's pretty cool relationship in there. I want to draw attention to the stones really quick. I find it interesting that they're, multiple stones, one per tribe, representing them again as a whole, but as individuals, separating them as well as part of the whole. And when they set them up, I'm kind of thinking this. It's you may have heard the phrase, it's not personal, it's business, right? No, for Yahweh, it's not business. It is personal. It is personal. And he wants to make it personal. So I think that's what's going on here when he talks about the stones. The other places in scripture, in the prophet Ezekiel, he talks about your heart of stone, and taking this heart of stone and I believe this is a matter of him taking that heart of stone, that cold heart, and that was been set against him, and then writing his word on it and giving it back to us as his heart, something soft and pliable towards him. And then he says, and I will cause you to keep my Torah. And so this is my thinking. This is another picture of that same thing. He takes the stones, and instead of just engraving into the stone, he first covers the stones, which when we come to him, though, we had been cold and hardened, whatever, first thing he does is cover us. And he covers us, and then he inscribes within us his Torah. And then I'm thinking of Jeremiah 31, where it says, this new covenant that I'm making with my people is this: I will put my Torah in their hearts. I will write it on their hearts and put it in their inward parts. So having that word written on our hearts at the valley of decision, Shechem, the valley between Gerizim and Aval, the place in between there, a place of decision, looking at blessing, looking at cursing, and knowing we are choosing the path that is the word written on us. How do we get it? How do we get it in us? By doing it, by hearing it, by making the declarations, by walking in it, by setting before us today life and death, blessing and cursing. And so that's how we walk it out. So inscribing the word on our heart is, in my thinking, not just reading, but rather practical application.
Learning to do.
Learning to do.
I find it interesting that Yah didn't say just take stones and carve it into the stones, but rather plaster them, whitewash them. And so there needs to be a whitening or cleansing or a covering of who we are before the word can be applied. Otherwise the Torah becomes a list of do's and don'ts and a legalistic system, the very thing that our family and friends have warned us against getting involved in. You're just going into legalism. If our heart's not been changed by the word, and then we're just simply trying to follow the word because, well, it's what we're supposed to do, then we've missed the point. The Torah was never given to redeem Israel. You cannot be born again by simply keeping the rules. But it leads you to the Messiah who does deliver you, who does redeem you. And the way I've told people is that the Torah is the description of the heart, character, and personality of the Messiah. It is his worldview, his lifestyle, his societal order, and it is the lifestyle of and living for the redeemed. If you are redeemed, then this is the way the Redeemer wants you to live, because this is the way he's is revealed to us, and it's how he lives. So if Yeshua is keeping the Torah, doesn't it suggest that we ought to do the same? If we pray, Father, make me just like your son, Yeshua, I want to be more like you. Excuse me, Yeshua keeps the Torah. There's a thought.
Can you imagine, we pray, I want to be more like you. I want to be more like Yeshua. Make me more like Yeshua. And we hear the clouds open and we hear a response from heaven saying, Passover's around the corner. Wait, what? What's that got to do with anything? Oh, Shabbat's coming up. We're only a few days out from Shabbat. Learning to walk in his ways, learning to do these things and step by step. And I think it's what we're all shooting for, right, Barry? We're all learning the heart of the Father and just trying to do it step by step. And when you engrave the words into the stones, guess what? That's letter by letter.
Yeah, indeed. It can be intimidating. It can be overwhelming. We might think, I'll never get it right. Just start where you are. Just start where you are, one step at a time. And it's an incredible, loving journey.
Well, that kind of puts us at our time, Barry.
It does.
Kind of dealing with a couple little issues I had going on here off and on during this recording. But we made it. We did it. We got it. So praise Yah. Guys, we love to hear your comments, your feedback, your issues, things that are going on. If you got questions or anything, please let us know. And you can reach us at reunionroadmap@bneyosefna.com. Till next time, shalom.
Shalom.
From Jimmy Black, this is Ein Ode, from his album, I Run to You, available at messianicmarketplace.org.
Come on, sing it again. We say, ain't no Milvado. There is no other beside him. Ain't no Milvado. There is no other beside him. It was shown so that it might be known. From Sinai to Jerusalem, it's awesome wonder, glory and power be to our God. Eliyahu. Come on, we say, Eliyahu, Eliyahu. There is no other beside him. Eliyahu. Ain't no Nevado. There is no other beside him. Come on, declare it in the earth. And ain't no Nevado. There is no other beside him. Come on, all alone, exalted, all alone, exalted on the throne is the God over Israel. No other God, no foreign king, just Yeshua. We say, ain't no no other beside him. No other we say, ain't no Nevado. There is no other beside him. Ain't no Nevado. There is no other beside him. Ain't no beside him. Come on, we call his name, Yeshua. 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 Yeshua, we call your name. Come on, lift your voice. We say Yeshua, mighty one. Yeshua, we call your name. Oh, we say Yeshua, Yeshua, his name. Yeshua, we say. Yeshua, oh, we say. The great I am. Yeshua, we call your name. Holy One, Yeshua, 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 we call your name. Yeshua, we say, Yeshua, you are awesome, Lord. We call your name. Einod, Milvado. There is no other beside him. Einod, Milvado. There is no other beside him. Come on, we say. Einod, Milvado. There is no other beside him. Einod, Milvado. There is no other beside him. Would you declare his name with us again?
Ein Ode by Jimmy Black, and before that, Melody Joy with her song, Vow. Barry and David brought us another very interesting discussion. This day, stones. Zephaniah, what is it that transforms us to actually part of the nation of Israel?
For one, is once you are a follower, then you understand your identity, and then you understand what is the responsibility with an identity. For instance, now we have the Torah before us. Now that I know I'm a citizen of this country, even though I'm in exile, there's still a responsibility on my part to say, how am I to be a citizen in this kingdom? So does that even prepare me for coming together as one with my brother Yehuda as well?
Eliyahu had asked me of whether the time we are in history is what something has changed to allow us to be dialoguing together. And I believe so. Before, we had Christians saying, we are the kingdom. The Jews, if they want to become part of the kingdom, they have to be like us and convert. Or even before that, Jews saying, we are the kingdom. Anyone who wants to come into the kingdom has to convert and become a proselyte. But now we're saying, we're both part of the kingdom. We have a path to walk out. Our fates are intertwined, and we just need to walk this out in faith. May we have grace to do so, and I know we will, because it's the will of our Father.
Amen.
And that is going to do it for this edition of Reunion Roadmap. If you like what you hear, please visit our website, bneyosefna.com. We do have a donate button. If you are so moved to partner with us, please hit that button, and we would appreciate it greatly. So, on behalf of Savanya Pappas, Barry Phillips, and David Jones, this is Al McCarn. Shavua Tov.
Thank you for joining us on the Reunion Roadmap, a production of B'nai Yosef North America. Please come back next week for another visit with the people of the emerging house of Joseph here in North America.